Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right into it. Think about last night for a second. Something completely wild happened to you. You were awake, totally aware of the world around you, and then you just weren't. One moment you're existing, right? Maybe you've got a million thoughts running through your head. Maybe your eyes are getting a little heavy. And then bam, nothing. You disappeared. And honestly, the most unsettling part of the whole shebang, there was absolutely no warning.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It really is the ultimate knowledge gap. Every single night of your life, you just vanish without a countdown. You don't get some handy 5-minute warning bell going off in your head. And until incredibly recently, science couldn't tell you exactly when that precise instant of disappearing actually happens. I mean, we've mapped the ocean floor, we've sequenced the entire human genome, but the exact moment human consciousness ends, that remained a totally stubborn, unsolved mystery.
Okay, let's dive into this. For decades, scientists basically had to rely on a working assumption. They figured falling asleep was kind of like a dimmer switch. Just slowly, gently turning down the lights until it was completely dark. But studying this creates a literal impossible problem. Think about the paradox here. The very second you ask someone, "Hey, are you asleep yet?" you've already woken them up. You're trying to observe the exact thing that vanishes the moment you look at it.
Because of that paradox, the whole dimmer switch idea just felt true. It totally matched our intuitive feeling of a slow, gradual fade into unconsciousness. But well, it turns out that outdated model is fundamentally wrong. When modern tools finally allowed us to look at the mathematical trajectory of our brainwaves, researchers didn't find a gentle, continuous slide at all. They found a cliff, a visceral, sudden, steep drop in brain activity.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the discovery that proved this. It's staggering. In October 2025, Dr. Neil Grossman and a team at Imperial College London completely changed how we understand sleep onset. They analyzed overnight EEG recordings from over 1,000 people. 1,000. By mathematically tracking the momentum of those brainwaves, they found that brain activity stays relatively flat and stable, basically holding you in wakefulness. And then, without any warning whatsoever, everything drops abruptly. They actually call it a tipping point, a precise mathematical bifurcation. And this is where the narrative tension really builds. Because that sudden drop, it doesn't happen when you think it does. That tipping point, that literal moment your brain starts its sudden descent off the cliff into unconsciousness, happens exactly 4.5 minutes before the rest of you actually follows. Let that sink in. So, the crucial point is, your brain has a hidden schedule. From just a single night's recording, the researchers' mathematical model could predict when a person would fall asleep on future nights with 95% accuracy. And get this, it had an incredibly tight margin of error of just 49 seconds. 49 seconds! Your brain is running a highly precise internal countdown clock every single night, and it simply doesn't bother to tell you about it. But wait, before we actually cross that final drop off the cliff, we have to talk about what happens when your body interrupts its own descent. Because we all know the feeling. You're getting heavy, you're drifting beautifully towards sleep, and suddenly, bam, a sudden violent jolt. Your eyes snap open, your heart is literally jumping out of your chest, and you feel like you just tripped and fell hard. That jolt is called a hypnic jerk. And what's actually happening there is a bizarre biological miscommunication right inside your head. As your body relaxes into sleep, your muscles start to loosen up, but one older part of your brain completely misreads those signals. It doesn't realize you're just safely falling asleep in your comfy bed. It thinks your physical body is literally free falling from a height. So it fires a massive, all-systems emergency reflex to every muscle simultaneously. Wake up, grab something, do not die. If we connect the evolutionary dots here, the reason for this panic becomes incredibly clear. Millions of years ago, our primate ancestors slept way up in the branches of trees. If a primate relaxed too deeply and too fast, well, they'd fall to their death. So they evolved this fail-safe reflex to literally jolt them awake if the body started to drop. Fast forward past the Imperial College London discoveries of 2025, directly to you, today, twitching awake under a plush comforter. It is a staggering, visceral contrast to think about. You are safely lying in a modern bedroom in the year 2025. Your brain, not so much. Every time you twitch awake, you are using an ancient survival mechanism designed for a completely different world where falling asleep in the wrong place meant immediate death. Your brain is literally still trying to save you from falling out of a tree.
But let's say you survive the jerk. You settle back down, that hidden 4.5-minute countdown finishes, the tipping point arrives, and you cross the thresholds of the cliff. Biologically speaking, you enter what's called the N1 sleep stage. It's the very first, incredibly thin layer of sleep. Your awake, alert alpha brain waves completely disappear, and these slower theta waves take over. You enter what I like to call the erasure zone.
Let's move on and see how this builds into an incredibly bizarre reality. In this N1 stage, your eyes actually begin rolling slowly under your closed eyelids. Your brain immediately starts generating these fragmented, flashing dreams. Maybe you see a random face you don't recognize, or you clearly hear your name being called. Yet, if someone were to shake you awake right at this exact moment, you would almost certainly insist you were totally awake and just, resting your eyes. People in this stage simply do not know they're sleeping.
So why are we so blind to our own sleep onset? Well, research shows that N1 sleep causes about 10% more forgetting than the much deeper stages of sleep. Think about that. It is actively wiping the slate clean.
The trick your brain is playing on you here is just absolutely fascinating. These first moments of unconsciousness don't just gently happen. They trigger active memory deletion. As your brain falls asleep, it is simultaneously erasing the evidence that the transition is even taking place. That's exactly why you can never ever remember the precise moment you fell asleep. It is biologically designed to be completely forgotten while it happens. And this brilliantly illustrates the hidden sequence that takes place right beneath your awareness every single night. You've got this 4.5-minute countdown where the brain lets go of a mathematical cliff. Then you have the ancient jolt of the hypnic jerk, trying to save you from a phantom tree. And finally, you have active erasure, basically ensuring you never remember crossing the finish line.
It leads us to a pretty profound realization. It's beautifully captured in our source material with this quote, "Every night you answer it, and every morning you forget." Thanks to this incredible research, we finally have the tools to track the brainwaves, to map that 4.5-minute momentum, and to pinpoint the exact biological tipping point of unconsciousness. But that brings us to the final, deepest, unsolved mystery in neuroscience. Where do you actually go? Your physical body stays right there in the bed. Your brain keeps firing electrical signals. But you, the awareness listening to my voice right now, that conscious voice inside your head, where does that go when the lights turn off? Science can track the countdown with total precision, but absolutely no one knows where consciousness goes when you disappear. So tonight, when you lie down and feel the drift, just remember, a tipping point is coming, and you'll have absolutely no idea when.